Hi everybody, this is Frank Clifford and welcome to another Frank Answers sponsored by Astrology Hub. Now, I have a question from Leah, who's a Sun and Moon in Aquarius and Capricorn rising, and she mentions that the last few years have seen great changes in her life, the biggest one being the end of a 30-year marriage. When we hear the word 30, of course, we think of Saturn and the Saturn cycle that lasts about 29.5 years. She says, as a result of this change, I've done a lot of soul searching and work over the past few years. She listened to an astrologer recently say something about the fact that fixed signs don't change easily, and the current planetary climate will leave the fixed signs being dragged kicking and screaming to do some sort of change by December. And I certainly understand what the astrologer no doubt was talking about, and that's the Saturn-Uranus square in the sky all year and some of next year in the fixed signs of Taurus and Aquarius. And yes, it's right. I would say fixed signs do resist change when it's not on their terms. Fixed signs would prefer to know where they stand. If they have to move, they want to make preparation for that. So we can see that the ascendant's here in Capricorn, and we've got the Sun and Moon in Aquarius, but we've also got three other planets in Aquarius. So there are 5 planets in Aquarius. Now, one of the things that I try and do in my early teachings for year 1, term 1, the real very beginning, is to do a weighting to see which, in each person's chart, to see which element is most dominant or which is weakest or most absent. Same with modes as well. And we just have to take one look at your chart, Leah, to see. You may not have seen your chart before, but it's got a tremendous amount of Aquarius in it. And so I would say certainly the fixity in your chart dominates. Okay. Now, what's interesting, you mentioned in terms of what the astrologer said about fixed signs being dragged kicking and screaming into some sort of change. Well, if we look at your chart, Leah, we can see that your moon in Aquarius, which happens to be at 12 degrees, almost 13 degrees Aquarius, is being transited at the moment by that Saturn-Uranus square. Now, Saturn-Uranus a square in the sky all year, back and forth. And for some of us, it's not really activated in our charts. We may not have planets around those degrees or angles like the ascendant around those degrees. But somebody like you, Leah, who's got the moon at 12 degrees is being transited by both. So Saturn is on the moon. In some way, it's saying, slow down. Attend to yourself. Take a little bit of time off from looking after everybody else or busying yourself, being the project manager that Capricorn rising can often be, or the social persons that the moon in Aquarius can be. And Saturn on the moon at the moment is saying, take a little bit of time out for yourself. Step back a little bit, see what it is that you need, because the moon is always linked to the personal needs, how one needs to be looked after, how one needs to be loved, and how one needs to be prioritized by other people. So Saturn on the moon says, slow down, consider that, think seriously about your day-to-day life, maybe thinking about restructuring it in some sort of way, different routine, more for yourself, perhaps less running around for other people. And at the same time, the planet Uranus is back and forth making a square to that moon. And the funny thing about a Uranus transit is it can feel very edgy, a bit irritable. So part of you might be feeling, okay, I can't take many risks because I've got to be serious about certain things. The other side of you, in a way, wants to break free and do everything now and change everything. The problem with Uranus is that we sometimes want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, as the phrase often goes. And so the temptation with Uranus squaring your natal moon this year is to say, all right, everything out, I'm going to do my own thing, I'm going to quit this, I'm not speaking to that person, and I'm going to change house, move off and do something else. So there's a great need at the moment, suggested in your chart, for change, to instigate change. But Saturn says, do it slowly, do it bit by bit. Don't feel rushed, because there's an element of irritation at feeling held back. Make little changes every week that start to open you up to some more freedom. Okay. Now, with that moon in Aquarius and 4 other planets in Aquarius, you may be hooked into a particular demonstration at the moment. Maybe you're demonstrating for women's rights, racial rights, gender rights, whatever it may be. Aquarius needs a cause, and it needs to feel like it's doing something for the good of humanity. It might be that you're one side of the vaccine debate at the moment and campaigning in some way with that. And Aquarius, as I say, it lives to open up ideas for people, to say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about it from a different angle? Open up your mind a little bit. And this is part of what you're here to do. That's what the chart suggests with that Sun, Mars, Saturn in Aquarius, is to get people thinking outside the box, fighting for themselves, working for themselves in some way. So at the moment, it's interesting because Aquarius can get into that pattern of, well, this is the way it is. And that's how I see my day and my life as I wake up in the morning. And at the moment, you're being asked to see it from a very different viewpoint, the sort of viewpoint you like to make other people aware of. So the awakener, Uranus the awakener, is waking you up to see the world differently and reminding you that's part of your life path of what you can do for other people, as I'm sure in some ways you already do that for them. Okay. Hopefully that was useful, and good luck with those transits. They're not as scary as one would like to read about sometimes, or you certainly get a lot of negative press about Saturn and sometimes Uranus. But in a way, the invitation is to change the structure of your life, not to blow it up, but to do it in a way that in a year from now, your life is looking very different and structured in a way that really works for you and gives you a purpose and a sense of being able to do some good for people as well. All that Aquarius stuff is being woken up gradually as Uranus moves through Taurus. Okay, so take care of yourself, Leah, and I will see you all very soon.